All right, well, you guys know before workshops, boot camps, before we do anything, we always start the exact same way. I always start with what? I always start with a simple word of prayer. So, you guys, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come to you today with bowed heads and humble hearts. Father God, we just thank you for all of your many blessings. We thank you for your mercy, your grace, and all your goodness. Father God, we thank you for all of the wonderful things that you're doing for Platinum Real Estate. We thank you for this webinar. We thank you for all of your many blessings. Father God, we just pray that Platinum Real Estate will always be the corporation that's doing things that's pleasing in your sight. This we ask in the precious name of Jesus the Christ. Amen. All right. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I see we still have people joining. Welcome, 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 everybody. Good to see everybody on the line today. Just so that you know, I always leave my phone number. If you ever need anything with Platinum Real Estate, you ever need me for anything, 470-740-9300. Text is always best. 470-740-9300. That's the best way to contact me. Now, I just want to kind of review. First of all, we just had a great workshop on Saturday. And thank you, thank you, thank you for everybody who attended. A lot of fun, had a great time. Absolutely wonderful. You guys, we had a great time on Saturday. So that workshop was wonderful. A lot of great feedback, a lot of great questions, had a good time. But let's jump in real quick, talk about the legacy program. If you don't know Platinum Real Estate, we have a great legacy program. We call it 1010. Great opportunities for real estate agents to take your real estate business to the next level, to build your own network, to have your own legacy. We call it 1010. Why do we call it 1010? Well, you can build your own network. You can have agents underneath you. We actually give you agents that's interested in platinum real estate. You just simply reach out to those agents. And when an agent join platinum real estate under your network, every time they pay their monthly fee every month, you receive $10 of their monthly fee. Every time they close a deal, you receive 10% commission. Great, great, great passive income for you. You may have a month where you might not close a deal, but an agent underneath you in your network will close a deal, and then you receive 10% on everything that they do. Excellent opportunity for you. Excellent opportunity for you to bless somebody else and to be blessed in the process as well. So that's the Platinum Real Estate Legacy Program. You want to learn more, go to our website, careers.platinumrealestate.com. That's careers.platinumrealestate.com. Now, we have a listing workshop coming up July the 26th. Every real estate agent should have a listing program. To list is the last. I always say to list is to last. When you have a listing, the individual that have the listing is like the employer. The person helping the buyer is like the employee. You can have 50 listings and still do business. It's almost impossible to have 50 buyers, right? So every agent should have a listing program. To list is to last. We are having a full day listing workshop July 26th, 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. on that Saturday. You will receive 6 hours worth of CE credits. Your tuition is only $299. So for the entire day, the full price is $499. We do have vendors like Miss Tamara Burch, due to her sponsoring the workshop. it goes from $4.99 to only $2.99. And Miss Tamara Burch will be at that workshop. So the tuition is $2.99. Now, for a limited time, I do have seats for only $27. When you check out, use the code listing. When you use the code listing, it's only $27 for the materials. So all I'm asking is $27. It will cover the workbook. It will cover all of the materials. Now, this is for a limited time only while supplies last. Go to listingworkshop.lutherragsdale.com. Listingworkshop.lutherragsdale.com, and the code is listing. So when you put in the code listing, it will reduce from $2.99 down to only $27. Listing workshop, full day workshop coming up July 26th. Okay. All right. Very good. Well, let's jump right in here. Let me see. Yes. So what are we talking about today? Oh, I see we have more people who have joined. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about Georgia Dream. You guys know the first Tuesday of the month, every month at 12 noon, right here, we have creative financing with Miss Tamara Burch. The first Tuesday of the month, every month, right here with Miss Tamara Burch. I was talking to Tamara. I was asking her what's hot, what's not, what should we talk about? And Tamara said Georgia Dream. So let me give you guys Tamara's information. You can contact her, call or text. Excuse me, 770-916-1234. 770-916-1234 or TamaraBurch.com. That's right. TamaraBurch.com. I see we still have people joining. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So without any further ado, hey, Miss Burch, Tamara.
We go. I had to press the unmute button. Hey
How are
man, how you
you?
doing, everybody? Hope everybody's having an amazing day.
Amazing, amazing. Hey, Tamara, first of all, thank you for all that you do. It was good to see you at the workshop on Saturday, the $1 Million Producer Workshop on Saturday. Good to see you there.
Yeah, I think people were getting a lot out of it. I think there was a lot of good information. I was sitting back there, and to be honest, everybody, I actually wrote down two little things myself. You never know when you go
Oh,
to workshops like this, if you get one thing or two things, then it was super successful for you because every one thing that you learn or take away from anything, a book, a workshop, it only makes you grow as a business person, a CEO. And we all are. We're CEOs of our business.
that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, it was good to see you there. We have another listing workshop coming up July 26th. So definitely put that on your calendar.
Well, and I'm excited about that because I think you're right. You know, I used to be a real estate agent, and everybody always says to list is to last. You have to have listings if you're going to be successful. Yes, buyers are like immediate, you're selling them, you're turning them, but listings are the same. You have to have them in order to really grow your business to the next level. And I love the fact there's a class for that.
Yes, yes, yes. I always say the quickest way to get paid in real estate is buyer agency. You have to have buyer agency. That's the quickest way. I always say if someone calls me and say, "Hey, I have to pay my house note right now. What's the quickest way to get paid?" That's buyer agency. But long term, to last, long term in the business is listings. A lot of agents say, I love buyer agency, and I love it too, because that's that quick money. That's the easiest money. That's the quickest money. But every agent should have both. We should have buyer agency, we should have listing 50-50, 60-40, 80-20. when I coach agents, Tamara, agents need both. You need a buyer agency and you also need listings.
You do, because that makes you more well-rounded. But not only that, I know one of the things you talked about was if you have listings, it helps you promote yourself and get more buyers as well as more listings. And so it's just like this unbelievable marketing tool. Once you start to get them, here it goes and compounds if you're following the strategy.
Absolutely, absolutely. To listen. All right. So, Georgia Dream, I'm going to turn my video off. And Tamara, it is all yours. Georgia Dream, let's do it.
Well, one of the things Luther and I was talking about, and so what's different about this time, even if you know Georgia Dream, stick with the. So what I did is I put this piece in the first section, the very first section, and I know Luther's going to get it up on the screen here in a minute. But what we were talking about was Georgia Dream, but um, we were talking about real estate agents and does anybody know what they do, right? We were talking about this one agent that I was speaking with and how this agent was like, my next door neighbor is listing their home with somebody else. And when I asked why, she said, oh, I didn't know you were still a real estate agent. And Luther and I was like, oh my goodness, right? And it's because we're not being loud enough. We're not being seen. We're not being heard. And just so you know, Luther, it is not up on the screen yet. So we're not being seen, we're not being heard. And so we were kind of talking about that. And Georgia Dream is an avenue. It's a thing for you to use, right? It is just a tool for you to be able to sit there and say, I have this, or to market it. And so by marketing it, it's going to allow you to get more customers to reach out to you. So even if you don't stay for the whole thing because you know Georgia Dream, let's just talk about this slide for a second. So Luther and I were just kind of sitting there and talking about how to get more people to call you. No, this isn't the listing piece. This is the quick buyer piece. This is, I'm going to get a buyer. I'm going to get them a home. I'm going to get them closed. I'm going to make some money. But most importantly, I'm going to help a first time home buyer who's never owned a home get into a home that they A can afford to get into, and B not only monthly afford, but afford out of their pocket of how much cash they're going to need, right? And so when I was talking to that agent as an example, I said, "Well, how did your neighbor not know?" I can't help but chuckle here, people. How did your neighbor not know? And she's like, well, you know what? I don't think I told her I'm still in real estate. And she goes, it's funny because somebody on Facebook said the same thing to me. Oh, I didn't know you were still in real estate. I thought you weren't in it anymore. And she went back and looked at her Facebook, looked at her Instagram, called me up. We chatted about it. And she's like, I haven't posted anything real estate in a year, right? 70% your business, 30% your personal, because you got to have personal out there. But she hadn't posted anything. And I can tell you she's not alone. And that's why I say, be loud, be seen. You want to be loud, you want to be seen. This is a fast-paced market. If people don't know what you're doing, you're not shouting it, you're not telling everyone, you're not being seen. It's the old adage when I was a real estate agent, I put 25 cards in my pocket. And then before I stopped for the end of the day, the 25 cards were given away. I know it's old school. I know. But the Georgia Dream is a way for you to discuss, getting those buyers. Maybe they don't go Georgia Dream for one reason or another. Luther always talks about it. We're not we're real estate agents, we're not underwriters. We're real estate agents, we're not loan officers. But you still have to put the little piece out. You still have to elevate yourself. And that's something that Luther always talk about, marketing yourself to the next level. So the Georgia Dream lets you do that. I'm going to give you some little pieces we're going to talk about. At the same time, ask. Ask. Let us help you. Let us answer it because I know Luther's just as big on marketing yourself and telling everybody what you do. But that might be an extreme for that individual. But I can tell you that individual, others have said the same thing to me. I'm like, have you put out there that Georgia Dream's still available? She's like, no. But I had somebody call and say, I can't get a home because I don't have my 20% down. That's actually still a thing. People still say, I can't get a home. I don't have 20% down, even though there are all kinds of things out there about 100% programs, about Georgia Dream, about other down payment assistance programs. And so this just kind of takes it up a notch if you're willing to take some of the little pieces in this, or text me or email me and I'll give you some. Somebody asked me for 50 things that they could put out there. I sent her a list of 50 things. So these are little pieces that are just, hey guys, I was thinking of you. I just closed on a Georgia Dream. Yeah, they got $10,000. Oh, hey guys, just thinking of you. Did you know Georgia Dream's still available? It's available for 12,500 up to for teachers, right? Those is a couple of things we're going to talk about. But elevating yourself to the next level through your, not only your social media. Maybe you are a fireman and you're a real estate agent. Maybe I work with a lot of teachers who are real estate agents. I mean, there's no way anybody in the school wouldn't know this is what I do as a real estate agent, and that this program exists for my fellow teachers to get up to $12,500. That's a lot of money. Luther, what are your thoughts on that? That's a lot of money.
No, I agree 100%. And one of the things, Tamara, as agents, what we need to do is we need to just let the world know these type of opportunities are out there. And then once we get the lead to come into us, we send them to you just to get them approved for whatever is best for them. Maybe it's Georgia Dream, maybe it's something else. We just need to, like you said, Tamara, keep and get the word out there. If we do that, we've done our job.
Right. I know for a fact that when you were first in the business, we're not going to say when.
That's right. That's right.
We're definitely not going to say when I was.
That's
Okay, we
right.
didn't. How can I say we didn't have cell phones? I just totally dated myself.
That's right.
But you're right. The more people we tell, the more business we do. But not only that, if somebody calls you about Georgia Dream, one of my agents, it was so interesting. She had this seminar and she had like 10 people come, but all 10 people then gave her 3 referrals. Yeah, you should be asking for the referrals because I guarantee you that teacher who's trying to get a loan knows another teacher who probably wants to get a loan too and buy their home. So definitely be asking for it. And it is being loud, it is being seen and telling everyone that this exists because a lot of people, believe it or not, they don't know that it still exists. And Luther's right. Maybe this doesn't work for them. Maybe it doesn't, but your phone rang, your text message came through, something on Facebook came through, you got a DM on it, right? But the point is, you start to get business in simply because you're telling people, hey, this is what I'm doing. Hey, this is where I'm at, right? So definitely do that. Any thoughts here before we move on?
No,
I know we wanted to cover that marketing piece after we talked about that girl.
yes. Absolutely perfect.
Okay. So guys, I'm just going to give you a little bit of pieces here. So this one's just a little bit more different. Maybe you're taking a piece of this and using it to market yourself, right? Just a little piece on this. This is great. Yes, it is good for firemen, police officers, teachers, etc. Right? It's good for all of those, but to be honest, it's good for any first-time home buyer. This is somebody who has not owned a home in the last 3 years. However, we're going to talk that last one there, Georgia Peach Plus. That's somebody who has owned a home, and Georgia Dream's still going to step in and help. So don't assume only first time home buyers. What you should be marketing is, hey, you don't own a home. There are programs for you. Let me help you get into a program. Okay. So right now, let's start with standard. What are some little things? We're kind of turning this around a little bit more on the side of being a little bit more marketing and versus just guidelines, right? So standard down payment assistance, what are we looking at here? That's everybody who hasn't owned a home in the last 3 years with a 640 or higher credit score in the state of Georgia who wants to buy a home that can meet the guidelines. Are the guidelines pages long? They are. But this is somebody who's going to meet typically FHA guidelines, first time home buyer, right? And then we're going to get an FHA rate, which I don't quote rates on these things, but it is lower than the prevailing market rate because Georgia Dream's trying to bring down that rate to help them qualify, right? Looking at least a 640 credit score. But the piece that's really nice about this versus some of the other down payment assistance, yes, you get this $10,000, but up to 5% of the purchase price, but no more than 10. You get this money, but you're not making any payments on it. It's not accruing any interest. This is just money to help you close. And then you can still ask sellers to step in and give you up to 6% in closing costs if we're going with an FHA program. So that is a lot of money to help people get into these homes with a lot less. So let's just kind of take a second and think about this and flip it into a marketing before we get to pen and choice. But how would you market this since this one's going to be more about marketing thing? You want to go out and say, "Hey gang, are you eligible to get down payment assistance up to $10,000? Call me. Are you a first time home buyer and you need some down payment assistance?" The myth of needing 20% is so not true. Call me, let me help you today. Right. So these are some different ways that you could put this out there, some different ways that you can market yourself, saying that these programs are available. And let me tell you, the sellers of 50 offers, we're not seeing that anymore. What we are seeing is the seller's agents going, okay, yeah, we'd entertain a Georgia Dream, right? Because it does take longer to close them, up to 45 days, right? But they're entertaining it now where they weren't entertaining it before. And what I like about this standard is not only can you use it for FHA, you can also use it for VA, which we will go in detail under the Georgia Dream Peach Veteran Assistance. You could use it for USDA, and you could use it for conventional. Now, do we find most conventional people using it? No, no, we don't. We find more the FHA, but a lot of people think I need a 720 credit score, right? And instead, we're discovering we could be maybe a 640 credit score and still make this work and posting a little bit. And I recommend posting this with yourself as a video. I recommend you posting it as just a Georgia Dream is available in the state of Georgia. Call me, let's learn more together. That kind of thing. What are your thoughts on that, Luther?
No, yes, I definitely say post it, and I think you think that you have to post it everywhere, and I think you have to brand yourself as the expert and the go-to person. Contact me for more information. Now let's just talk about posting this. You do not want to post the program, right? You don't want to post every detail. We're not Tamara. When a person calls you, we're not talking about the details. We just want to post and we just want to let the world know we have creative financing options. We have this great option out there. You can get, financing for whatever Tamara said, credit score as low as 640, 620, 20, 20, 20. I would even call Tamara and just say, hey, Tamara, what's hot? What's not? What's a good spin that I'm posting? Then they're contacting me saying, hey, I seen your post. I'm interested in this great opportunity. All I'm doing is saying, I'm contacting Tamara. Go to Tamara. I'm not getting into the program, Georgia Dream, Pin Choice, none of that. I'm just saying, hey, contact Tamara. I've then done my job. Now, Tamara then is going to go qualify the person, get the person approved, all that good stuff.
And you've got it right. And not only that, Luther, I agree with you on everything you said in the sense of also you can't post one time, right? What is the rule? 7 times before somebody sees something.
Exactly.
You gotta be consistent. Now you can't sit down 7 days in a row and post the same thing. You're gonna want to break that up, right, into different pieces. But just because you're posting it today doesn't mean you couldn't post something 3, 4 days later as well. I hope that makes sense. Did that make sense, Luther?
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
So Luther will tell you, by you screaming in a nice way that you have different down payment assistance programs, that you have money up to 12,500. Does everybody qualify for 12,500? No. Does everybody qualify for 10,000? No, you're not saying everybody does. You're saying you have these programs. And what that tells people is I can get into a home with a lot less money. I was thinking about going to rent. I had a person call me not too long ago. They're like, I might not have enough saved. I'm thinking about renting. One of the agents sent them to me. And I said, okay, I said, it looks like you're going to be renting for about $3,500 a month. Yep, that sounds about right. That's the price point we're in. And I said, okay, well, you're going to need 2 to 3 months rent. And he goes, yeah, we have that. And I'm like, you could buy a home with that amount, right? You can own a home. Oh no, I need 20% down. I need like 70, $80,000. And so people do still think that, but what they need, even though the agent said something, she sent them to me and I reiterated what she was saying, right? She wasn't quoting anything, just, hey, you don't need 20%. Could talk to Tamara. You're not going to need that much. And here I am going, oh, no, we don't need that much. You might even get in for only 5,000, 7,000, 10,000, which is the amount of money that they have saved. So then it's like, oh, wow, I may only need that much. So Georgia Dream really opens that door to home ownership. And yes, if you've been on here, I have a bunch of other things. This is more just little pieces like Luther and I were talking about. What could we do? And you know what? One person said to me just recently, and Luther's going to laugh. He's going to get on here and he's going to laugh. He said, I don't want to see myself. I'm afraid for people to see me. I'm afraid for people to hear me. And I'm like, listen, 99% of everybody says the same thing. 99%. So if everybody's feeling the same way, post it, forget it. Go back to it, maybe make some comments. People aren't genuinely mean, but somebody's going to see it. Then someone else is going to tell someone else and say, hey, you need to call my agent here. As a friend of mine, I see she's posting about this assistance. You were saying you wanted to buy a home this year. You need to give her a call. And so that's going to help bring up some more business with this Georgia Dream, allowing you the opportunity to get that 5% up to $10,000. And that's a good amount of money. Not only that, the debt ratios on these are higher if we maybe don't want to put somebody in, or we've got some student loans. A lot of times we'll hear, hey, I have student loans I can't buy, right? No, Georgia Dream. You can buy a home if you have student loans. That is not true. That's a myth. And that is a great post to say, hey, and we have 10,000 up to 10,000 or up to 12,500 to allow you to buy. What do you think on that, Luther?
Yes, indeed. No, that's 100% right. That's very important.
Yeah, don't you hear that too a lot about people saying that the student loans that they can't buy a home because they have student loans?
But let me tell you what I always say. He say, Tamara, there's no such thing as bad credit, and there's no. Here's a big one that I always hear. Well, I got bad credit, and what I say is no, you don't have bad credit because you don't know what it takes to qualify. I have had people with 680, maybe 690 say I have bad credit because they feel it takes a 700. What I tell every buyer is there's no such thing as bad credit. Even if you have credit that you don't qualify now, we can put together a plan and you can qualify. So what I would have an agent to think, and the better approach to these things is no, it's not that I don't have money or I don't have enough money or I need 20% down. Let's figure out a strategy to make it happen. Hopefully you're ready now, but even if you're not ready now, but let's put together a strategy to get you ready.
And that is, Luther has really just nailed it yet again. That is exactly it. You know, a lot of people think, I have bad credit, I don't want to apply. You know, if you don't know how to get somewhere, you don't have the roadmap to get there. And that's what I discuss with your clients. You need the roadmap in order to get there. It isn't a no, it's a let's do these things so we can say yes and get you in your home this year. You know, do they need to do the work to do it? Sure. But now they're not guessing, they're not overwhelmed, they're not putting their head in the sand, they're not running away because you stepped up and you said, I know someone who's going to help answer these questions that's going to get you there. And so, even if you hear somebody has less than perfect credit, you still want to get them because I want to make sure that we are able to show them how to reach their goal. And we can't do that if we can't take a look at the overall picture. Then they're going to know about how much they can buy. They're going to know, oh, I only need to pay off this one small credit card for 500. Oh, I need to pay off three small credit cards. They'll get their answer. And then there's this relief of, oh my gosh. And then they're looking at you. You know how to help me reach my goals. You're helping me reach my goals. Not only am I getting Georgia Dream down payment assistance in the future, somebody told me exactly the number I need in order to get there. And that's, I think that's what Luther's trying to say, right, Luther?
Absolutely.
It's guys, this is it. I'm telling you, just these little posts that Luther and I've been talking about. The Georgia Dream Peach Select Veterans Assistant, that is now just for veterans, right? It's a rate below market. You're welcome to call me anytime. Again, I don't cover rates on here, but it's a VA loan for veterans up to 425,000. You don't even need to say that. You can just say, hey, we have a lot of different VA programs. We got a lot of VA available, but the one I really want to talk about here is this pen choice down payment, right? What is a pen choice down payment? Well, that means that you are either working for maybe an educator, maybe you're a nurse, you're in healthcare, maybe you're a fireman, maybe you're a police officer, right? So the pen actually allows these individuals to get up to 12,500. These are so if you know nurses, nurses tell nurses, if you do one nurse or one police officer or one teacher, they're going to say, hey, my person knows how to get you some funds. Right. Not only that, even if you have some credit blemishes, you need to go so that they can help you get there. And they're going to tell other people. You could say, hey, and this could be six different posts. Hey, educators, did you know there's special money for you? Call me so I can help you get into a home. Hey, police officers, did you know there's special money for you? Call me. I can get you into a home. Hey, nurses, these are different types of post ideas, but up to 6%. And then seller can still pay 6% to get them in. Again, this is not a seller's market. We're seeing sellers step up. Will all of them? No. But will some? Yes. And then the individuals get in a lot of times for $1,000, which is amazing. Who wouldn't rather do that than continue to pay rent? I can tell you almost every nurse, every educator, every doctor would rather do that, right? And then the choice is you can say, hey, anybody who has disability, not necessarily even the person getting the loan. Anybody in the household has disability. If they have disability, they're living in that house, we'll take them out of the standard and place them in the choice, and then they can also get up to 6%, up to 12,500 of the loan amount. That is an incredible amount of money to help get you into this program. And all of these are just little tidbits for you to be throwing out there and putting on your social media. And or every time you see somebody in education or you're sitting there chatting, you could be able to bring it up that these funds are available. The more you talk about it, the easier it is for you. The more people know what you do, the more people will refer people to you, and it grows from there. What are your thoughts on that, Luther?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Because back in the day, this is so true. I helped one dentist, and then I just started helping more and more dentists and dentists and dentists and dentists. There was a time when I helped a couple of people down at Fort McPherson, and I was helping everybody in the military. So yes, that tip is right on.
And that's a great point that you're talking about for VA. Once you help one, don't just close the one. Scream loudly how you are a VA expert and that you helped a veteran, and then ask that veteran for other veterans. They want to work with people recommended by another veteran. It is something they want to do. They feel more comfortable. They want to work with a VA expert that knows what they're talking about. And so I can't tell you how many times I'll look at someone's credit and go, I'm confused. Why do you have a conventional mortgage on your credit? Oh, I can't use my VA. Why can't you use your VA? Well, the last person told me I already used it once. I can't use it again. You have to work with a VA expert because that is somebody who just doesn't know what they're talking about. And they would rather say that and still get it. Or there are some that just don't do VA, so they tell them they can't use it without a full explanation. But I am wondering on that because Luther brought that up. But he's right. Let's say you did one dentist. Would another dentist or a hygienist tell another hygienist? Of course they would. They see each other, they know each other, and they're going to share, hey, I just got $12,000. You need to call Sue. Sue's can get you $12,000, right? And so you're right. It's just like a circle. Hey, I just closed, a hygienist is able to get her $12,500. Call me today to find out how you can get it too. Right? Something along those lines, but you're posting it out there with just a little bit more than I just closed this customer, right? You don't have to say their name, but you can post it out there and then that lets other people know it's available. What do you think on that, Luther?
Yep. 100% right. You are 100% right. Let's do
And
this. Questions. You can raise your hand with questions or you can ask it in the chat as well. I have a question here that maybe that somebody asked that's very, very different. The question is there a Florida dream? Because I am a licensed real estate agent in Florida.
Florida has a lot of different programs, a lot of different programs. You're more than welcome to call me. We can walk through. Some are by county, some are by the state. You're more than welcome to give me a call, and maybe we'll do something for Florida at a later time. That's not a bad idea, Luther.
Yes, and here what I would say to that. Don't as a real estate agent, don't get caught up in Georgia Dream or Florida Dream or this or that. Here's one thing that I hope everybody takes away from this webinar. We need to let the world know that we're the expert. We have a lot of different programs. We want them to call us. We then forward it to Tamara, and then Tamara puts them in whatever program that's best for them. So, if I'm in Florida, if I'm in Illinois, and there might not be a quote unquote Georgia Dream. Okay, that's for Georgia. Got it. But what I can do is I can contact Tamara and I can say, Tamara, what can I say for Florida? Because it's not the program, it's the benefits on why you contact me or why you call me. If you advertise, I have Georgia Dream, nobody cares about that. The buyer isn't focused on Georgia Dream. The buyer is calling you because I can qualify with little down payment, no down payment, credit score as low as 620. That's why people are calling, not because of a program. So even if Georgia Dream goes away tomorrow, we're going to say, Tamara, what's the benefits on a program? Because I'm advertising the benefit of the program, not just a program.
Exactly. And Luther has it right. Just because we're saying Georgia Dream, and I personally wouldn't quote Georgia Dream either. I would quote, hey, there are programs available for you to get up to 10,000 or 12,500, or maybe you are one of the lucky ones who can get 5% of the total purchase price, right? Because we do have 101% loan that's available that allows them to get 5% of that purchase price if they qualify for it on that down payment assistance. And that one, you don't even have to be a first time home buyer, right? You could have owned a home 6 months ago and buying again. Maybe you just didn't get any equity because there's a divorce or whatever the reason is. Luther's dead on in saying, hey, I have programs for you. And that's why we wanted to bring this up because we were talking about how many people just aren't out there screaming and saying, hey, I've got something. I can help you with very little money. Hey, I can help you with down payment assistance. Hey, I can help you with, for you to get up to 5%, right? You're not giving bunches and bunches of different quotes on everything. You're just saying you are the go to person. You're the one that has programs available. Reach out, call me. And then that starts the conversation. You might get 10, 15 calls, right? You're super excited. And maybe seven of them have less than perfect credit and we're putting them on a plan. But that's your drip for the future that Luther always talks about. Maybe it's not today, but now you've got your December business or your January business or your February business. But maybe three or four are right now today, right? They didn't know they could get in for $1,000 or $2,000 or $500. You're helping them realize that they don't need 20, 30, $40,000 to buy a home. You're just letting them know that there are many programs that you're there to help them understand. Is that kind of what you're saying, Luther?
Absolutely, 100%.
So the Georgia Dream also has borrower requirements. We already talked about one. You need to have at least a 640 credit score. You can use FHA, you can use VA, you can use USDA, you can use conventional. The point is there's a bunch of different ways to use this program. The more important piece of using this program and the other programs that we're not really getting into here is that number one, they're not paying it back, not on this one. They're going to pay it back when they sell the home, refinance the home, or rent the home. Otherwise, it sits there. There's nothing that they're doing with it. It's just on title until they do one of those things: refinance, sell it, or rent it, right? Any of those, at that point, they're finally paying it back because the money's recirculated, right? And that isn't anything you need to post either, right? That there is down payment assistance available for you. You don't need 20% to buy a home. It does take a little longer to close these. Again, not something to post. You're looking about 45 days for Georgia Dream. But as most of you know, if you've been talking to me, we have some other programs. We're closing those 25 or 30 days. Those are moving super fast. So maybe this one doesn't work, but the other one does. So a lot of times when we issue approvals for you, we're not just issuing Georgia Dream, we might be issuing one of the other programs. And by issuing one of the other programs, if you need it, you reach for it. If you want to use Georgia Dream, you reach for it. But the borrower has multiple options available. And you are knowing what those options are because you and I are chatting even before I'm sending that to your client. That way, you know what you've got, how to fill out that contract, what that's looking like. You can call and ask questions. They can call and ask questions. We want to make sure everybody's informed. But the biggest piece, I think, from this meeting today is actually the first tile that we talked about, and that is talking about being loud, being seen, being remembered, talking about different programs, using your marketing yourself and how great you are. Did you have any other questions or did you want to expand on that anymore, Luther?
No, no, you're perfect.
Okay. So those are the things I wanted to touch on. I know Luther probably wants to talk about some other things as well. I want to first thank everybody for your time today. If you want some ideas, like the call I got, Tamara, can you give me 50 myths? Sure, I'll give you 50 myths. Wrote up 50 of them, sent them out to her. That's an example. But if you want to talk, you want to chat, you've got my number right there. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me. I'm happy to help you. I'm not just the lender for your client. I'm here to help answer any questions you have. Make sure you understand anything that you want to understand, but also a true partnership. You want to bounce ideas. I get that all the time. Hey, Tamara, I'm going to probably post this. What do you think? I actually love it. Hey, did you think about tweaking that? Hey, Tamara, I'm looking to work with investors. What are your thoughts if I did this or that? Hey, da da da. You have to remember, I'm speaking to hundreds of people. I'm happy to share. Uh, I'm happy to share everything with you. Just reach out, call me, let me help you. And again, I thank you so much for all your business. I hope 2025 is amazing for you. I hope it's off to a fantastic start. I can't even believe we're in May. That's insane to me. But I appreciate everything that you're doing and calling and being part. So thank you so much.
And this is what I'm thinking. Tamara, everybody, listen, guys, this is what I want to do for next month. Okay. Next month, I'm going to send out some text messages with some Q&A. And I want us to put together real estate agents Q&A for Tamara Burch. So next month, you want to be here next month. First Tuesday of the month. Let me pull out my calendar and let me get this first Tuesday. First Tuesday of the month. This is what we're going to do for the month of June. It's going to be June the 3rd. Okay. I have coaching sessions with agents, and we're going to put together maybe 10, 15, 20 questions for Tamara. It's just going to be Tamara live. You guys can ask questions. I'm going to have ask questions, and we're just going to have a live Q&A with Tamara Burch. Whatever you have on your mind, whatever's going on in the mortgage industry, bring your questions. Okay. You can send them to me. Some of them I will have pre-ready to go for Tamara. Then I want you guys to bring live questions. And we're just going to have a live creative financing panel with Tamara Burch. How does that sound, Tamara?
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that because my phone rings all day long with questions and this and that. And you know what? I might keep some of those questions as well and shoot those over to you that I get on a consistent basis, especially if I get asked it more than once. But it could be as simple as, hey, do I have to pay off a charge off to buy a home? That's a great question. I'm not answering it. You're gonna have to come back on June to get the answer.
There you go.
But but yeah, I love that. What a great idea. Absolutely.
Yep, we're just going to have live Q&A with Tamara Burch. And we're just going to just spend an hour with just questions and answers and questions and answers. So whatever you have, if you have a client with questions, bring those questions next month. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of fun. Okay. Tamara Burch, how do we contact her? 770-916-1234. 770-916-1234. Website, tamarabirch.com. Okay? tamarabirch.com. Also, do not forget July 26th, listing workshop. If you're an agent who just tuned in, we are going to have a listing workshop July 26th, 6 hours worth of CE credits, normal tuition $299. Now, normally we charge $499. Our vendors, Miss Tamara Burch, have sponsored this. So the tuition is just $299. I have limited seats for only $27. When you check out, you can put in the code listing and it will reduce from $299 down to $27. You can reserve your seat at listingworkshop.lutherragsdale.com. That's listingworkshop.lutherragsdale.com. Normally $299. Put in the code listing and you'll pay for the materials only. So the materials for the workshop cost $27. You will leave with the workbook. You will leave with all of this great information. The $27 strictly covers the materials only, okay? All right, you guys. Hey, we got exactly 60 seconds. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Tamara Burch. Great information, great time. I'm looking forward for next month. Live Q&A with Miss Tamara Burch. Hey, you guys. Thank you. May God bless you. Talk to you soon.